Welcome to the Power Lunch Podcast, your midday dose of boldness, brilliance, and a little bit of badassery. I'm Amy Sousa, here with my powerhouse co-hosts, Tracie Munce and Lisa Carmichael, and we're coming in hot to shake things up. Each week, we dish out bite-sized, high-impact conversations on business, health, purpose, wealth, and the wild, beautiful chaos in between. Whether you're building your dream, rebooting your story, or just catching your breath, this is your space to get grounded, inspired, and reignited. This isn't just another podcast, it's your power move. Let's go.
Welcome back, everyone, to the Power Lunch Podcast. This is Tracie. I have Amy and Lisa with me, but our guest today, get ready, buckle up. She has spent over 36 years on stage beside the world's foremost thought leaders, but what drives her isn't the spotlight, it's contribution. Loren Lahov is a 6-time bestseller author, speaker and entrepreneur, and what she calls a contribution leader. She's more like an electrician, and I'll let her talk about that. But she is someone who builds everything around giving back. She's the founder of True Legacy Collective, a mastermind that gathers intentional women into a deep sisterhood to reclaim their vision and own their worth. And that spirit of contribution runs through all of it, from her nonprofit dog rescue to her superhero birthday projects. Today, she's here to talk about legacy, how we build it, how we give it, and how every woman can start right now. Loren, welcome to the Power Lunch Podcast. I would spend time with you like every day of the year. So,
well, I got to say, like, how you encapsulated what makes me, lights me up. Well, you did it, sister. My goodness. But you've always been able to do that.
Well, I heard a long time ago that I speak Loren. So it was so funny. We were at an event one day and she was talking, and then she looked at me and she's like, Tracie, you just finished. You speak Loren. And it is a beautiful speech by that. You are all contribution. Like, everything about you is about contribution. And here's the reality. You're not like a lot of women when it comes to that. There are a lot of people in general out there that say that they want to give back, that, I have a heart for others. You, sister, live, breathe all of it. And I'm going to start there because that is like, when you look at your heart, there's a big C on it for contribution. Like, everything you do is about that, is about giving. How do you get there? Like, that's big.
Well, I have to thank my parents. My parents raised us with that it's our responsibility. My dad started the housing authority in Asheville, North Carolina. My dad was in the Lions Club for 52 years, so he took me to every Lions Club meeting. I wanted to go. It's not like that he took me. It's like I wanted to go, and anytime it was a way to help with the Margie McCune Home for the Blind. We sold brooms. I just remember being a little girl, and that's what we did. We didn't go on vacations. We didn't. We didn't lack that feeling that we were missing something by not going on a vacation. Like, for us, it's like on the weekends, that's what you do. And so I really do have to thank my parents. They instilled that in us at a very young age. So when I went to college, I was looking when I decided to join a sorority, I was looking for the sorority that contribution was a really foundation for everything that they did. It wasn't about the partying, it wasn't about anything, it was about the contribution piece. So I think that's just been the breadcrumbs that I'm always looking for. I always. Yeah.
What sorority? I also love that you never really went on vacation, and you just recently took a vacation. I think it was last year with your daughter, and it was like the first time that you got to plan this beautiful holiday with my favorite human ever, your daughter. My heart is exploding even just saying her, like thinking of her. So
Well, you're
Lisa,
her
go
favorite
ahead.
too. You're her favorite. We're definitely. I mean, you
We're
really
not
get
supposed
her
to share
into
that, but
Asher.
that's the truth.
But but the other thing was, even when Asher and I went on that trip, and it was a trip of a lifetime for sure. It's interesting. I've taken trips of a lifetime just recently. Every year, I'm making sure I do. But every trip has a contribution piece in it. Even when Asher and I went over there, she made sure. She said, "Mom, what are we going to do to give back while we're over here in Greece?" So that's foundational. It's for me, it's a non-negotiable, and not out of obligation. It's the right thing to do. So in Greece, I don't know if anybody's. I'm sure you all have been to Greece, but and
No.
Tracy was sharing about our. Well, let's go. When Tracy was sharing about the dog rescue over there in Greece, they have vending machines on the street for free to give cat food. So everywhere you go, people can go and they can just, get the free food for the cats, or the people take care of the animals on the street. There's not like they're not lacking in any kind of way.
Could you imagine
that's my
that?
kind
I
of
would love
place.
that. I would love that.
Very yanked.
I
That's
try to
kind of-
give everybody else a breather.
Well, this is a really interesting dynamic because Amy and I kind of we've met Loren, but I love the relationship that the two of you have formed. And I know there's been a mastermind and some travel. And I think, that really does build a sisterhood that I think a lot of our listeners long for.
Yeah.
And is that something that you're intentional with in building as you go out and do your travels and lead masterminds and teach people?
I love that. I'm intentional about the people I bring in my life, is what I will say. I'm very, very intentional about who. And Tracy and I met in a really beautiful way. She had been to, I think, a virtual event, right? And you called me, and she called me on the phone, and I'm like, why don't you just come to Vegas? Let's meet up. Because I loved her energy. It's not like I invite everybody, but I could just feel her energy. I could feel her heart. And I I think I bring people into my life a lot. I'm going to give away a big secret, but I bring people into my life a lot by how they treat my children and how they treat my animals. And my daughter and her, like, they're best friends, truly the best friends. Like my daughter's like, Mom, she's like the coolest person. Like, she's the best. My daughter couldn't read energy, and it's very authentic. So I'm not looking just to build a mastermind or build this. It's like I want the people that their values really, like these women that just went with me to South Africa to work with this veterans project. Like, yes, it was nice to be able to see the animals and to do that, but three of them, they were like, let's go to the store and let's get this for the guys, and let's make sure the veterans have this, and let's make sure this, and let's make sure they have the plane tickets. So what drives them is really about, servant leadership. And I believe that there is no other kind of leadership other than servant leadership. I remember years ago, I got to meet Norman Schwarzkopf. And Norman Schwarzkopf said two things. He said, when placed in command, take charge. And then the second thing is do the right thing every doggone day of your life. And I have a mirror that's made. It's by a company called Styx. I've had it for I don't even know, 30 something years. It was a cool art gallery in Asheville. And when I was with my mom, I was like, oh my gosh, I need that. And it's this mirror with all of these cool, eat healthy, exercise, and all these cute little squares. And at the top, it said, I bought it because it said, do the right thing every doggone day of your life. And I was like, yes. So every time I walk out, that's what I see. And so, somebody had heard me telling the story, and they were at my house, and they said, no, Loren, it doesn't say do the right thing every doggone day of your life. And I said, yes, it does. I go, I read it every day. Don't tell me what it says. And in there it actually says, do the right thing almost every day of your life. And I have never seen the almost every day. Never. I'm talking for 30 years. That word has never, ever been there. So for me, it's not optional to do the right thing. It's like you just do. So anyway.
You've been on, first off, I just want to say I just put a new sticky note. If you know Lo, you always have your sticky notes next to you, because this is where you write everything and then you put them up so you see them, right? Like, we need to, first off, a friend of yours, Gary V, he says what you write. No, that's Joseph McClendon III, another friend. What you write, you invite, right? So start
Yes.
writing stuff down. If you hear something, nuggets, put it down. Lo, you always have golden nuggets. One of the things that I love about you, and I come from a world that has lots of superstars in it. That Lee was in the music industry, so fangirling on a lot of different people. You've been on those stages with a lot of pretty powerful men and some women. It'd be easy to live in that comfort zone of like you're great at what you do. You're an amazing speaker. When I first met you, I saw you on screen. I remember you were first wearing this beautiful necklace that I have one as well now. But I saw this necklace and you had a beautiful story around it about some other woman giving it to you. But you said, I have a list of my nifty 50.
Mm-hmm.
And those people, those are my ride and dies. I would do anything for these nifty 50. And I thought in that moment, I don't know 50 people. I don't have 50 people that are on my list. And all I want to have a nifty 50 list. And gosh, wouldn't it be nice to be on hers? And I think that I have been on her top 10 list. There have been times that I have been on our top 10 list. So I have reached the nifty 50 list. But it was such a beautiful example of who you are in that moment. But what you have done is you pivoted from those big stages, those ones where you have spent all of your career. You went to school to be a broadcast journalist. You have broadcast for many other people. But a few years ago, you stepped onto your stage, you committed a lot, that it was shaky. And you did it. And there's so many women right now that they know they have something in them, but they're living in comfort. They're living in this, you know what, this is good enough. Like, this feels like but there's something, there's a aching within them. Tell us what that moment of you doing at the first own your worth and then own it, how that all transpired, that you said enough is enough. I'm no longer playing small. I'm going to live what I'm preaching, because that's when my life changed, as well as so many of the women in my life.
Well, I appreciate it. Well, I think it's, once again, listening for the whispers, and when the whispers, you got to listen for the whispers. And it's interesting that I'm here in Fiji. As I shared, we lived here from 2002 to 2005, and we taught about 36 week-long programs every year. I'm very grateful to have the opportunity to launch this program 24 years ago. I think about that. 24 years ago. 24 years ago, I was 36 years old. My kids were 2 and 6, and Asher wasn't born. And then I remember it was very comfortable here. I mean, we didn't have any bills. We got, we had somebody taking care of our kids. The kids, they didn't have to worry about them. We're doing what we loved. And I remember looking at my kid's dad one day, and I said, I got to go. And he goes, what do you mean? He goes, look at the life we have. Like, I go, yeah, but I feel like I'm hiding out. I said, and I need to get home. I know what my passion really is, because my first book was for moms, about really about, not what you do, but who you are and how you show up. So I think that's always been in my heart. And so I said, but I got to go home. I see a lot of women going, that's great, and I love the information, but who am I at my core? So I think that it started for me that I went home and I wrote Life Tune-Ups, and I realized that there are 4 different stages that women go through. The first is discovering who they are. Like, who am I? Like, what do I love? What do I need? What drives me? What inspires me? And then it's like that it happens, and then we stay true to that. We're like, yeah, I'm doing it. I'm the person. I'm the broadcast person. I own the restaurant, whatever that is. I'm the attorney. And then something happens. You get married, you have a kid, and then you go to the next stage, which I see a lot of women in, which is rediscovering who they are. Like, what do I really love? And going back through and taking a pause and really looking about what matters most. And then you get connected to that, and then you are staying connected to who you are. But then lots of times you have to go through another rediscovery stage, right? Like that rediscovery stage is super important. So I went home and I started doing these retreats, these retreats. And so, because it was comfortable, right? It was like, oh, it's not like too much, and I can still, and like you said, it's a little bit like a high, like when you work for a wonderful company, or you're adding massive value, and it feels good, but it's still not your thing, right? It's still not your thing. You're still working for it. And then we always think we have more time to just get started on it. So I did these events, I did these retreats, a couple little retreats, but God kept nudging me. I really feel that God was keeping, was saying, Loren, it's time. Loren, it's time. And not for my ego, Tracie. I really appreciate that. It's like, I love to help people put wings on their dreams. I love to have people, shine from the stage. It's nice, okay, whatever, but that's not what drives me. That is definitely not my driver. So somebody was saying to me, our friend actually somebody was saying to me, it was Joanne, I think it was Joanne, because Joanne had been to a small event that I had done. I was planning a big event, and Joanne came to this, COVID happened, and so I did this really small retreat with about 8 people, and she's like, you need to do another badass and beautiful event. And our friends, Eric and Marina Rory, had just built a studio, and I'm like, well, hang on a second. I know how to do events. I've been in production for 30-something years. I can model what works before, that Tony does, that Eric does. So I ended up on my own, not a company. I was like, I got to make a big step right now. I got to go big. Let's see how courageous. You talk about being courageous. You talk about making big moves. Let's see if you're really up for it. And so before I did it for myself, I wanted to test it. So I rented the studio. The event cost me over $250,000. Now, I don't know anybody who, I think if my husband actually knew how much money I was really willing to put on the line, and I was like, are you okay, Loren? You got to figure this out. And one of my favorite lines is from Eric Worre, and he says, say yes, tell the world, figure it out. And so I was like, okay, I'm doing this. And I put it on for a company that I work with, and I want to acknowledge Eliana and Marcin and Danica and as well as Margaret Irving Chile. I was like, okay, guys, 4 of us. I'm like, we just got to figure this out. And so I put on this event. We had it planned. It was awesome. We did everything. We modeled things that worked. And then we had 300 people. The studio holds 350 people. We had about 350 people confirmed live. And remember, it was still COVID. It was the heart of COVID. So people had to go in and get tested with their temperature tested before they came in. And a lot of people were afraid to travel, but we did have 300, and we had 26,000 people confirmed virtually. So we're like, yes, we're good. We're all set. And then guess what happens? We were rocking. Omicron hit, and I had all these plans, all these grand plans for the event. And so Omicron hit, and it was people dropping like flies, literally, to come live. The company I was doing it for, they weren't going to let their speakers come, from their corporate. So you have to pivot. I had to pivot. I was like, oh my gosh. But anyway, we did end up having people in the studio. But Danica, who was my event production manager, she got COVID, and they wouldn't even let her in the studio. So I was like, oh my God, Loren, what have you done? But anyway, we had the event. It was amazing. Like I said, we had 26,000 people from around the world. We had to pivot with all of those different things. And so I was like, oh, if I can do it for them, I can figure out how to do it for myself. So that gave me the courage. I don't know if it gave me I think there's a couple things that you can be confident in something, but you have to have the courage to go for it. There's a difference. You can be confident, but you got to have the courage to go forward. So anyway, I was like, okay, well, I got to look at this differently. And that's when, like I said, I was planning. Someone said, like, why don't you plan another one of the retreats? And I'm like, I'm going to spend all this money trying to market it and doing all this. Why wouldn't I just go big anyway? And that's when I got resourceful. And we always talk about the person that's most resourceful always win. And I am so grateful for a man I met, actually here in Fiji. I was, he had a sticker on his bag, all these stickers on his rolling bag as we're at the airport in LA. And I didn't even know he was coming to Life Mastery because it was the program right after COVID or whenever things started to open up again. And it was right when I decided to say yes to this event. And I was like, oh, you Old Miss, hotty dotty. And like Joss, as you know, went to Old Miss. So we started talking about Old Miss. Well, then a couple days later, I realized he's here as a participant. And then after the event, he comes up to me and goes, hey, let's keep in touch. Like, I just started this company like that not that long ago, and let's just keep in touch. And I was like, oh my gosh, I'd love to try that out. And Maureen was here as a participant as well. And Maureen and I got to be really good friends. And we started going to Hotworks, and I was like, gosh, I love Hotworks. And I told him about the event, and he became my first sponsor for the event. And I think it's just one person to really just believe in you. And that there's a couple people. One was Lisa Klein. I want to give Lisa Klein credit. She's one of our dearest friends. But you don't know when these beautiful angels are going to show up. And I was like, I was open to it. I wasn't open. I had zero expectations. It was like every time I turn around, it was just they talk about ego meaning edging God out, right? And when I didn't have any expectations, amazing things just started happening. But it hasn't been easy. I mean, you see me, like I still work hard. A lot of people are going to say they're going to come or say they're going to support. And a lot of people say that. And
amen.
So Amy knows a lot about this because Amy puts on events. She owns City Lifestyle, which is very similar to My Vegas. And she puts on these events, and it's expensive, right, Amy?
And as a planner, you're going 90 days out, and they're looking at 7 days out.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I totally understand, Loren.
And then there's also the things that show up. Like I like you said, like as an event planner, I don't think people really know everything that it takes. Like I think one of the biggest challenges right now is if you really want to get the most out of life, you got to invest. You have to invest.
Yeah.
I look at, even when people ask me about clothes, when I think about clothes, I think of clothes as a cost per wear, right? So I have my Swarovski crystal boots. And everybody's like, oh my gosh, this one lady was like, how much did you pay for this? First of all, I have 2 pairs of them, and I paid a lot of money, but they are who I am, and I love it, and I get anchored to who I am, and I'm like, I kick ass. Like, they're not just a pair of boots for me. They're like about moving forward. They're about kicking ass. I give everything a metaphor. I make a metaphor out of everything. But
look at hers. She's got hers right there.
Hey, we are new besties. Look at that.
Lauren, how would, like, for our listener, when you said you invested $250,000,
I didn't have the money. I just put myself on the line for $250,000. I didn't have a loan. I didn't have a SBA loan. I didn't have the money in the bank to $250,000. I put myself on the line for $250,000 that I had no idea how I was gonna do it. But that's why I kept going back to Eric's quote, say yes, tell the world, you'll figure it out. And
oh my God, I wrote that down. That's so amazing because we all have it backwards.
Correct. We do.
Well, I think the other thing too is not necessarily about the dollar amount, although it seems very significant. It is about the stretch that is sometimes required to get you to that next level. Like yes. we don't do next level in comfort zone. We do next level in stretch zone. We have to be willing to stretch whether it's our, whether it's our pocketbook, whether it's our thinking, whether it's our limitations on our body. If you are looking to move up that realm, or, use the elevator or whatever term you want to say, but get to that next version of yourself, there has to be a stretch involved.
There does. And it's interesting, Tracie, that you say that. Let me see if I can stand up for this. It's like a lot of times people think that they're stretching, but they're not doing the action to actually stretch.
Right. Were you gonna do the hand thing? It's one of my favorite things.
The one thing I was gonna do is, we talk about when people do the fire walk, when they step up, they think they step up to the fire walk and they're like, yes, and they're really, their body's going, no, and
going backwards, right?
Literally start moving backwards. So lots of times people think that they're doing the things to take the action to do it, and they're actually not. So, but the vision, that's a vision exercise, and I'll do that with you. But the framing of that is Asher, Tracie's best friend. When Asher was little, she was so cranky. And I was like, maybe girls are just cranky. I mean, boys are so much easier. Like, this is ridiculous. This little girl's always cranky. And I went to go pick her up at the preschool. And now I said, my dad was an optometrist for 52 years. And I went to go pick her up at school, and there was the backpack. She had her backpack ready, outside the room. And on her backpack, it had a note, and the note was highlighted, and it said, take your daughter immediately to the optometrist. And I'm like, what? Take my daughter to the optometrist? And I was like, why take her? And so they said, just take her. You need to take her, like, tomorrow. And you know why she was cranky? She couldn't see. And so many of us get cranky because we haven't really thought about the vision and who we can help. So the reason, I love that you say that, Tracie, because I saw the vision of what I could do. I thought more about, how do I want people to feel when they leave this, experience, and not an event, but an experience. Like, what could I do to create a moment for people that they will remember for the rest of their life? How will that, even at the event that I did for the, the other company, when my kind of test run, I did a contribution piece, So for me, contribution isn't optional. And like you said, I saw the vision of what it is. So we can do it together. Love it.
Yeah, let's do it. Stand up, please.
Okay.
You guys stand up.
And just have your feet placing forward, forward, moving forward. And then put your finger up in front of you, your hand in front of you. And without moving your hips, go as far as you can to the right. 1, 2, 3, go. Okay, remember that spot. Now bring your hand down and really see a vision that you have of something you are committed to making happen. You don't know how you're going to do it, but you will find a way. Just think about it. Bring your chin up, bring your head up, stand tall, stand proud. And really think about, who have you helped? Who have you served? What's happened? Who have you become? Think of some specific things that have happened. Maybe it's new friendships that are made. Maybe it's trips you go on. Maybe it's a random stranger you meet because of just saying yes to this. And now think about that first step that you took, but now see that a couple years out. What's happened because of that? What is the beautiful rhythm and that's happened because of that? Maybe even take it 20 years out. What's happened 20 years out? Now, imagine your hand. Don't put your hand up yet. Just imagine your hand coming up. And just imagine it going around again. Now bring your hand up. And go as far as you can to the right this time. Wow, you went far. You should have gone further, right? So see in your mind's eye that even before I got on this call with you, this beautiful Zoom with you, I thought about what's the vision that I have for this call? How do I really want people to feel? What do I want them to, even though we didn't talk about what, we talked a couple minutes before, like what we were going to talk about. But how is it, what's the vision that I have for this call? I thought about like how grateful I am. I always do gratitude before I get on any call. So I'm looking at the ocean, and I thought about how grateful I am for, Tracie and you guys asking me to be on this call. I thought about the beautiful moments that Tracie and I have had. I've thought about, just everything, moments I've had with her, moments I've had with her and my kids, moments I've had with all those different things. And I'm so fired up. I can't not move forward. And that celebration part is a very important part that people move out on, because most move forward with, because most people, they just like do the thing and then they like move on to the next thing and they don't celebrate. And I celebrate it all. I'll celebrate this call. I'll write about this call, I'll put it in my planner. I'll write, today we did this beautiful podcast together. So
there's so much that you just like, look, if you're not in Loren's world, that you're first off, figure out an opportunity to do that. There's lots of opportunities. As you were talking, gratitude is such a big part. I mean, you have it on your shirt if you're not watching this, but if you're listening to this, you have it on your shirt. As a gentle reminder, I'm in gratitude. One of the things
I didn't even notice it. It's so funny because this is just the shirt I travel with. So
you have so much, and you inspire me so very much. One of the things that I really want to talk about is the True Legacy Mastermind that you have cultivated over the last 4 years. You're in your 4th year of the True Legacy. And I was honored and blessed to be part of the first 3 years. And now, have transitioned a little bit different. Our relationship has become more just dear friends and being able to support each other in other ways. Tell me about the True Legacy Mastermind, how it's evolved for you, and why you think it's so vital that women are in community now. Obviously, contribution being a big part, but community and that sisterhood. I was just talking to one of my sisters last night, and we were sharing how important this last 3 years has been for us. So share a little bit about the True Legacy, how people can still get involved if they're still involvement, or what that looks like going into the new year.
Okay, awesome. I actually did do the event. I did the mastermind before COVID, but it was different. I was in a different place in my life, and it felt very, it was very, very skill based, and it was very like everybody's like, how do I do this and how do I do that? And it was great. I think I did it from 2017, 2018, 2019. I think I did. It was like 3 years before, and then I stopped for a little bit because for me, I just needed to take a pause. And I think everybody needs to give themselves grace to recalibrate. And even though it was amazing, it wasn't aligned really with what I saw as a long-term vision for myself. Yes, I had people coming in and teaching about ClickFunnels, and had people come in helping them to build their this and do this and that and this, blah, blah, blah. It's great. Awesome. That's not me. Do I do that? Do I bring in amazing people? Absolutely. Do I have amazing resources? Literally today, 3 people texted me this morning, and said, how can we collaborate on some things and do some things together? I feel like our energies align. One of them I really feel very aligned with. So I believe, and not from an ego place, but I really believe that people need me more than I need them. And so I don't come from a needy place. And I think years ago, I used to be a little, and I'm just being dirt honest with you. I mean, I just turned 60 and I'm freaking still learning these. Still learning lessons every single day. There was a lady here this week, and I'll talk a little bit about TLC, but this has to do with it. I grew up in it was very, very difficult where I grew up. It's a beautiful place now. A lot of people love it now. But it was hard. It was very hard growing up. I was a little Jewish girl from the South. There were parts of Asheville, no blacks, no Jews, no anybody who was a minority. I literally could not go to spend the night at someone's house or go visit them sometimes. And I didn't understand. I didn't get it. And because my parents were so generous with everybody they meet, it made no sense to me. And I remember growing up thinking, I really want people to love me for who I am, not what I am. Mm-hmm. And that became my mantra for my life. Like, I want people to know me for me. So this week, there were 137 participants. And there's a participant here from my hometown. And she lived in this one part of town. We went to school. We were 2 years apart. And, you know, it like the old me might have gotten triggered by it, I would say. And I didn't, which I was like, wow, that's amazing. But you know what was really interesting? I grew so much from that experience. It made me so resilient and so clear about the people I want to bring into my life, whether it's, you know, friendships or just people to collaborate together. And to see her pain that she's been carrying around for so long was very healing, I think, for both of us. I called my brother and I'm like, man, you know, it's so interesting. Like, we know what we went through and it made us resilient, but she's been carrying it around and as a lot of weapon. And so when I was very intentional about this, I'm like, what is my outcome here? My outcome is to help give women their wings, for them to really be seen, to unleash their true voice. I know, Tracie, our original OG of the Ruby Slipper winner. And
I was just thinking about how you changed that narrative for me. For my whole life, I used being a teenage mom as a weapon towards myself. Like, and I'm very proud of being a teenage mom. I love my daughter. I think I mean, she's amazing, but I would give credit to everybody else. I would think of the person I was while she was growing up, like just the pain that I felt. And you were literally the first person that helped me to change that narrative, change that story, make it an empowering story. And it altered everything.
You know who I learned that from? I mean, as you know, me and Tracie as well, it's really important for me to edify where I learn things from. And you know where I learned that from? I learned it so many years ago from Wayne Dyer. And Wayne Dyer said, when you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change.
Yes.
And so I looked at everything differently. I'm like, wait, hang on a second. How can we help women really take that and turn it into such a beautiful gift in who they've become because of it? And another thing that Wayne Dyer used to say, is when people squeeze you, when you squeeze a lemon, what comes out of a lemon?
Lemon juice.
Lemon juice. Mm-hmm. When you squeeze an orange, what comes out of an orange?
Orange juice.
Orange juice. So when people squeeze you, what comes out of you?
Oof. Tracie juice.
Bourbon. Plantains.
If it was this last weekend, Modelo Especial.
No, but lots of times. So for me, like, I really think about, like, when I'm squeezed, when I'm put in those situations, that are tough, like, what comes out of me? So I'd like to say compassion, right? So for me, someone could have said, oh my gosh, somebody's here that's triggering that. And what came out, I'm like, my parents taught me to be compassionate and ask this question, once again, something that I learned maybe 30 years ago from this guy. He was kind of cranky. He would always come in. He was a CEO of a company I work with. And every time he'd come in, he was just cranky. And it was like, God, what is wrong with him? Why is he so cranky all the time? And he would come to work, he would leave. He'd come to work and he'd leave. And he shows up at a meeting once. He goes, I know everybody thinks I'm a jerk and that I'm just cranky all the time. He goes, but my son died 2 months ago. And he said, so whenever you're making a judgment about somebody, ask yourself, maybe there's something I don't know. And you don't know what happened 5 minutes ago with somebody. You don't know a phone call they could have gotten, what happened at home, what happened in their business. So those have been really important keys for me in my compass, right? What are those? It's a sticky note to put up. But for me, what the true legacy is, we can all win. That your win is my win. Like you doing this podcast, I want everybody to do a podcast. Why not? Like when Jeanette did hers, we celebrated hers. When Joanne did hers, we celebrated her. Erin's doing hers, we're celebrating hers. When somebody, that there is enough to go around. The only thing that I would say to everybody that's really, really important is the quote in my book, as you know, that really changed everything for me as well, is to be someone you're not is to waste who you are. So be you.
Wait a minute. Say that again.
To be a person you're not is to waste the person you are.
Yeah.
So for years, I was like running around trying to be like a little Tony, you know? And I'm like, why would I waste the amazing? I am a freaking badass. Like, I'm amazing. And why would I waste who I am? And I know what I bring to the table. I'm real, I'm raw, I'm right from the heart. What you see is what you get. So my passion is to help people unleash that part of them that they're so scared to trust. As you know, Arthur and I have collaborated now. We're going to be doing an event together in August, which I'm super excited about. I don't even know. I think that we had we're doing a very small event. And Arthur's 80 years old, and he's like, Loren, I just want my legacy to live on. And he's like, I feel like you're the person I can trust this with. So to me, here's something that I was like, wow, amazing.
Arthur is amazing. He's an amazing speech coach,
and
right?
Vocal awareness about finding that sovereignness that in yourself. And that's my mission, is that when I bring these women together, that everybody sees the gift in each other. And we have a wide variety of women. Like we have a young girl that's 23 years old, wildly successful in the industry that she's in, that some people could make a judgment about. But once they get to know and once they get to appreciate, you never know. You never know. Lots of times we all think that we're the one that's supposed to teach things. Are we? Or are we learning lessons through the people that we surround ourselves with? So the values. I mean, look at my homework for everybody would be, what's really most important to you in life? Like, what's most important? And the thing that I would say is, I'll go back to my favorite little book. My favorite little book is The Prayer of Jabez. And if you don't know, the word Jabez actually means pain. The word Jabez means pain. And the first line of the prayer of Jabez, no matter what your religious beliefs are God bless me indeed. That means we're here, you guys. We're here to do good. We want to have wonderful things happen. Go on the trip, right? Spend time with, spend quality time with people. Where they say, like, you just posted something, Tracie, I think. Take the trip. You went to Disneyland. Take the trip. Go full out. Go do those things. Do it. God wants you to live, wants you to live an abundant life, truly.
Beautiful.
And so why not you?
That's right.
A tree doesn't ask to grow. A tree just grows. Here in Fiji, it just grows, right? Everything grows. It's been through storms. Here in Fiji, they go through crazy storms all the time. But these trees, they're like, okay, well, all right, I'm back, and I'm just going to grow. And they grow like crazy, right? Second line of the prayer of Jabez is, and expand my territory. So that does not mean it's always going to be easy. Like you said, the growth happens during the tough times. And embrace it and think of, like, who am I going to become because of this? So there's a guy, I love to tell this story. I tell the story all the time because I think it's important for everybody to hear. And this guy dies and he goes to heaven, and he's met at the pearly gates by St. Pete. And St. Pete says, welcome to heaven. You can do whatever you want in heaven. You can eat whatever you want. You won't gain a pound. You can shop. You don't have to pay for anything. You can live wherever you want. The guy's like, cool. It's amazing. So he gets there, and St. Pete says there's only one rule in heaven, and that one rule is you can't go through that door right over there. And the guy's like, oh, that's cool. I'm good. So he's walking around a couple days. He's running into his friends, high-fiving everybody, eating, not gaining any weight, shopping, not having to pay for anything. And on the third day, he notices that doors open about this much. So he's like, I'm in heaven. All right, there's no security cameras here in heaven. So he walks through the door. And as he walks through the door, it's like a ginormous Costco with huge boxes. And as he walks in, he notices more boxes pile up, more boxes pile up, more boxes pile up. He gets closer, and he notices that every box has a ribbon on it. He's like, that's cool. He gets closer, and he notices that every ribbon had a name on it. So he goes looking for his box. Well, as he goes, he grabs he goes up there, grabs the forklift, goes up there, finds his box, and is getting ready to pull down his box. And as he's pulling down his box, guess who comes up behind him? St. Pete. St. Pete said, I thought I told you not to come in here. He goes, but the door was open. I mean, and we're in heaven. I mean, it's got to be something wonderful. I mean, everybody's got a box.
That's right.
And St. Pete said to him, let me tell you what's in that box. And the guy's like, it's got to be great. And he goes, in that box is everything you could have had on earth if you just would have asked for it. Every person you wanted to meet, every experience you wanted to have, every foundation you wanted to start, everything, if you just would have asked for it. So for me, I kept saying for years that I want, that I really want to help women, I really want to do this, I really want to do that, and then ask for it. I'm going to do it and just ask for it. The miracles that happen, everything, but you have to order it up. And you have to find a group of people like, my friendship with Tracie and, all of you that we really authentically, no BS, cheer each other on. And I will tell you, if you feel a bit of doubt that that's really not true, then you need to, there are 8.2 billion people in the world. You do not have to settle. There's 8.2 billion. There's a lot of them. I just met a lady this week that I just adore her, and never would I have thought that would be somebody, she's like 71 years old. She has she climbed Kilimanjaro, and she's done this and that. She started this animal rescue. She does this, all of these things. She has a camp at Burning Man, and she's all about, you're like, what? God will bring those people in your life, but sometimes you have to let go of some things in order to move forward. You can't move on hanging on so tight to something because you're never going to be able to do it. So you have to have the courage, you have to have the confidence, yes, but you have the courage to go, I'm willing to leap and the net will appear versus waiting like, where's that net? Like, where is it? Are you sure I'm going to make money from this? Are you sure I'm going to be able to do this? You sure it's going to work out? And it'll happen. And some things take time. One of my favorite speakers, he passed away about 24 years ago. His name was Art Berg. And Art said, the difficult takes time. The impossible just takes a little longer. So.
Oh, Loren, seriously? I know Lisa feels the same way. Like, we are literally sitting at your feet. I mean, both of us were leaning in. I mean, like, I don't even have the words to express how much I love you so very much. We have like tons of things we'll put into the show notes on how to get in touch with you and how to be around you. Your stories, the one thing that I love about you is your experience, your stories, but it's the experiences that you put all of us in when you're telling your stories, but also the events that you're creating. Own It is, I just had one of our friends, one of our board members, Carrie, go to and was speaking at one of your events, and I had lunch with her last weekend, and just seeing the shift in her. And she's in her 60s, she's success everywhere. And it just proves the point of being around women that are lifting each other up. And that's something that I love about what Lisa and I do with Glass Ceiling Foundation here in Minneapolis, but they are all over. These kind of communities are all over. Use us as your resources to find those. Don't do this alone. You don't need to. And also, you can't get to where you're going on your own. You have to have people. And that's one thing that I am so grateful that you have offered me, those resources, and also how to think resourcefully, right? Like, so often when we're stuck, we're not thinking about who around us can get us to the other side.
People want help, but you just have to ask. It's like I said, you just got to order it up. Carrie's what a special lady. She's a really special lady. And when we did because I do I don't do coaching anymore. That's but with the ladies, I do some sessions, and it's interesting. My second book was called Life Tune-Ups. Because you don't need a whole life makeover. You just need a couple little tweaks. And I remember our call, like one little tweak, right? It's that whole example of the machine that breaks down. And the machine that breaks down and the company's freaking out because it's this huge distribution center and they're like making widgets. And they freaking out and they call this person. And the person comes in, stays. They're like, oh my God, you got to fix this whole thing. And the person comes in, switches one thing and hands them the bill, right? And the bill was for $10,000. And the guy's like, what are you talking about? You were here for like 2.5 minutes and the bill's $10,000. I want an itemized bill. And the guy comes back and he says, 9,999, I'm sorry, 1 penny for coming over, $9,999, knowing which switch to turn.
That's right.
Sometimes we don't know because we get so caught up in like, oh my God, how do I do this? How do I this? How do I that? Versus when you get around other women that really hear you and really listening, they'll help you find out which switch you might need to turn. And it might be one you just don't even, you're like, oh my God, how did you figure that out? So that's why. And I would just say, once again, just have appreciation, have gratitude for everything, because there is a reason why. So anyway, that's it.
Well, I appreciate your friendship. I feel as if I'm at the foot of both of you in this podcast. This is such a joyful podcast. I'm excited to re-listen to it. And thank you, Loren. This has been wonderful. Thank you, Tracie. It's been very fun to be in this conversation.
Yeah, thanks for getting up so early for us, Lo. It's always a pleasure. I love you.
Thank you, Loren.
We'll do something so that we can give everybody some virtual tickets for next year. It's
100.
March.
Yeah.
And as long as it's not when your son's birthday is. So
my grandson's birthday is on the 21st.
Okay,
so that's
we won't do it then. So we won't make sure. No, we won't do it then.
Good. There's a difference. I will be honest. There's a difference about being in a room versus being online. And if you can get in the room, and that's, the big message, bringing it all back, is the reason that Loren and I are friends. The reason that I fell in love with her and she fell in love with me is because I got in the room. Yeah. I just showed up. And I said, "Here I am." And
you got on the plane, and you got in. It wasn't even. You did.
I got on a plane. I went for there's so much around that story of you and I meeting and what happened and the way that it altered. And I talk about this all the time. That's why travel is so important. It's about the person that gets on the plane, but it's really more important about the person that gets off that plane, because she is a totally different person if you do it right. So thank you. I love you. Love to your family. Hey, when you see that beautiful man of yours, you just give him a big old squeeze for me. I love it. I love it.
Yeah. My family is definitely the Tracie fan club. I mean, you definitely, and then when you see my gorgeous son there,
yes, I will. I love you. Okay. Thank you so much, Loren. All right, let's go.
Thank you so much for joining us for today's episode. If something we shared sparked a new idea, gave you a fresh perspective, or simply made you feel seen, we'd love for you to pass it on. Share this episode with a friend, a colleague, or a fellow powerhouse woman who's walking her own journey. And if you haven't yet, don't forget to subscribe so you'll never miss an episode. Until next time, keep showing up, keep rising, and remember, there's no ceiling you can't break through.